Hello, my Soulpreneur Life family and friends. I'm so excited to chat with you all today. The topic came up about self love and the connection to your higher self and how that could possibly overflow into your life, into your business, right? And there's so many ways. And I just wanted to get on here briefly and share something with you as we're entering into this new year. And there's so many people setting goals and New Year's resolutions and all of these amazing things. I want you to give yourself a little bit of grace and room to grow and expand. But I want to start off by addressing the concerns about self love and what that looks like. And as I'm going through this, I want for you to either write it down or really think about it. What does love look like to you? What is self love to you? Of course, there's the textbook version of love, but what is love to you? What does that look like and feel like to you? Really write it down, get clear on it, and put what does that feel like when you are being loved in that way? What does that look like? So, boundaries. Saying no. This is a huge one that so many people often struggle with or have a hard time doing is saying no and understanding that no is a complete and full sentence. There's no need to explain. If you say no, you don't have to explain why you said no. I know it's crazy, right? But saying no and allowing your basic needs to be met, allowing yourself to receive. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper as I go on, but I just really want you to understand because some people have no idea what it means to love on themselves, to have self-love. So amplifying your self-worth and your authority. And you can do that through being your own friend. Your thoughts are important, right? Like, are you a good friend to yourself? I want for you to just really take a moment to really sit with that because the first time I really thought about that, I avoided being my own friend for many years. And I did that by being preoccupied, by taking care of everyone else around me, by overachieving, by trying to be really useful. Like if I wasn't useful, if I wasn't producing something, I wasn't worthy. How many of you can relate to that? I just want you to take a moment to really sit with this. And I'm going to try to go slower because I know I normally talk 100 miles an hour and you guys are rushing to take notes and asking questions. But I want to do this a little bit differently where I'm going a little bit slower for it to really just have it sink in for a moment. When you become the source, when you remove your power from the control of other people and the comparisons, and you say, I'm going to do this for me. I'm becoming who I am each day by day, step by step. And you allow yourself to receive in the way that feels good. You amplify the sacred authority, that sacred worth and value that you already have that you may not recognize by showing up for yourself and just trying. And one of the most challenging things for me, and you guys know I'm super transparent, but especially years ago when I started this process of my own healing and getting out of the military and divorcing and becoming a civilian and all of these things, it was like, am I allowed to do this? What does this look like? Because for me, I always thought self-love was when I would see women going to get their nails done and stuff like that. And, being in uniform, I couldn't get my nails done the way that most women did because of Army regulations and things like that. So I'm like, I've always been a tomboy. So self-love for me isn't getting my nails done. It's not getting my hair done all the time. Like those things don't feel good for me. So what is this process for me? So that can look so different for each and every single one of us, but give yourself permission to explore it, to think outside of the box. And that can look like anything from rituals, diet changes, health changes, changing the types of medicine that you put in your body, routines for yourself to express who you truly are outside of your labels and responsibilities, outside of mom, dad, parent, partner, husband, wife, spouse, whomever, sister, brother, but you at your core, at your essence. Everyone should have a hobby that is theirs. Even if you are in a relationship, you're married, if you are a parent, if you are something like that, right? Outside of that, when you remove yourself from the soccer games, when you remove yourself from the duties of motherhood, like grocery shopping, especially, like grocery shopping is not self-care. It might start out that way to get yourself away from certain situations, but I want for you to know that you are deserving of time, of your time, in a way that pours into you. And it's not still accomplishing something where you have to produce something. Does that make sense? So outside of those labels, truly taking time to hear yourself and in your own unique style of meditation. And I know people hear meditation and they're like this meditation, I have to be quiet, I have to be still, I have to quiet all my thoughts, I'm not allowed to do all this, I can't move. For the longest time, and even still, I still struggle to meditate in that way. And meditation doesn't have to be you're hearing your voice, you're hearing your inner thoughts in a way where everything is serene and peaceful and quiet. I found that in gardening. I found that in riding my motorcycle. I found that in doing things where I was channeling my energy, but I found that peace, right? So listening to music or even dancing and just allowing yourself to be free, raising that frequency. I just love to connect to Mother Earth. And before I even realized that my form of meditation and my form of grounding was connecting to Earth, I was doing it, right? So for you, connecting with yourself is a form of self-love. Having boundaries is the greatest form of self-love, because you're keeping a promise to yourself. Did you hear that? Boundaries are one of the greatest forms of self-love. As you keep the promise to yourself, instead of easily dismissing yourself and saying, oh, I'll just do that tomorrow. But if it was a friend or family member, would you do it tomorrow or would you do it right then and there? So what makes them priority and you secondary? I'm calling some people out right now, I know, because I went through this and it was the hardest thing in the world for me. And then navigating guilt, because I was like, well, I feel bad or I feel guilty if I do this for myself. Like, ugh. But then I didn't have anyone doing those things for me. And it's because I was calling people in energetically who needed me, because I felt that I only deserved to give and not receive. So as you do this and you go through this process of self-worth and self-love and practice, you understand your value and you begin to energetically align and call in different things. Okay, so I have some notes that I'm going to look at too throughout this, because you guys know my brain is like a shiny object. But you're building trust with yourself as you keep those promises to yourself, right? And it can amplify the goodness within you. I have people come to me so often and they're like, what are my gifts? What is my intuition? I want to build intuition. I want to do this and that. But as you are practicing self-love in this process, you're amplifying your intuition, your gut feeling, you're trusting your judgment, you're keeping a promise to yourself, which is putting your ego at ease, right? Your mental body at ease, which is creating perhaps an imbalance because you normally don't do those things. So as those gut feelings come up about, is this right for me or no, you just know, oh yeah, that feels good. Oh no, I don't know about that, right? So stand in your sacred authority unapologetically. Challenge fear and show up in your truth each and every single day, bit by bit. It doesn't have to be a huge chunk that you bite off and then all of a sudden you're choking on it because you're like, this is too much too fast, right? Implement something small every single day. And then before you know it, you'll find some sort of routine or ritual or pattern, or you'll shake things up more often, but you're still loving on yourself in a way where you are becoming so true and so clear on you, not the labels, but your soul, on who you are. And I want for you to understand that when you do this, and as you do this, my ears ringing off the lips, I know, but as you do this, you are going to rock your world. and everyone in it, because people who have been accustomed to that version of you, because people often work in labels, right? And I've said this before, people like to label us so that they know how to handle you. Oh, am I better than this person, or is this person better than me? Do I need to suck up to this person, or are they on my level? You know, people, oh, they went to that school. Oh, they did that. Oh, I'm not going to talk to them. Or, oh, I could get so much from them. Right. So as you are showing up and you're loving on yourself, you're trusting yourself, you're building these internal monologues, internal feelings and processes that you go through, the people on the outside will slowly start to notice, or some of them perhaps a little faster if they're energy vampires or whatever the case may be, or if they've really benefited from you not having boundaries or not having self-worth or having self-love. It's going to shake things up. And this is where you standing in your sacred authority is really important, and keeping that promise to yourself and saying, no, that doesn't feel good for me. I understand it felt good for you, but that is no longer the way that this dynamic is going to be, because it doesn't feel good for me. And being okay with that, and understanding that you're not responsible for their response or their emotions to you setting that healthy boundary. You must choose you. You must choose you and always be you. And understand it's gonna feel uncomfortable at first, and you're gonna have fear, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, if I do this, so and so's feelings are gonna be hurt. Who cares? Do they care about your feelings being hurt? Do they care about you feeling like you are not worthy of love right now in this moment? Because you are worthy of love, whether you realize it or not. And this is going to overflow in so many beautiful ways in your life, in your relationships, in your business. So I just a quick story. The other day, one of my friends, she messaged me about her situation, and she does so many amazing things. She's a veteran too, and she does so many amazing things. And she's sharing her story from her perspective of her past, right? And trauma and different things and all this on her platform. And she's doing an amazing job, absolutely amazing. Like, I'm in awe of her. And she was talking to me about how some of the people who were there when she was in the most toxic, hurtful, worst scenario that she could have been in, and they weren't there for her to stand up, right? But they were just observers, are now vocally coming to her and saying that she's wrong for sharing her story, for how she's handling the situation. So people who often never really have much to say during the time where you're being hurt will come up when they start feeling agitated, or they start feeling the shift and the change in how you're showing up and how you're sharing your experience with them. And block them. When people are like that, block them. The people who want to keep you in that box, in those limitation of their understanding of who you were in that environment when they had access to you, they can't handle who you're becoming. And that's not your responsibility. It will drive you absolutely mad and keep you in this limbo of back and forth and questioning your own worth, questioning your decisions, questioning, doubting. And that doesn't feel good to your gut, to your soul, to your ego, to the parts of you on the inside who are helping you grow and expand your inner child, right? If you're questioning if their words have more validity or truth than your own, how would that make you feel? If people wanted to be portrayed in a better light, then they should have behaved differently during the chapter of your story that they were a part of. So why am I sharing this, and why am I sharing this in this way? I have so many different thoughts and bits and pieces that I want to share. Mainly because there are so many people out here that are waiting on you to stand up, to stand in your truth of power, of radical responsibility for who you were, who you're becoming, having that accountability, and then standing in your authority to share what it is that you have to share. to impact the lives that you are here to impact, that are in the people in your orbit who are sucked into your orbit because they're part of your collective. It's going to be uncomfortable, but the more you turn inward and you love on yourself, the more you realize that it's not about the discomfort, it's about the impact. So become clear on your intentions. Don't try to hurt others as you're sharing, right? Like, we don't want to be malicious as we're sharing our stories or testimony or the journey that we went through to get to that next stage. But don't allow other people to keep the power that is yours or to keep you in a box either. So show up and show the hell out. Show the hell out because you deserve it. Each time you do this, this spreads in your life. It trickles. It's like a cup overflowing. It can't help but mesh into other areas of your life and relationships and with yourself and your healing and the people that you are calling in energetically, and the relationships and the business that you're bringing in and the clients that you're attracting and the messaging that you're sharing. When you know who you are, what your intentions are, you turn inward first, always. Right? Before seeking validation from outside sources, which allow you to kind of get off track, but allow yourself to embody your true self, to access your true power and message. And, you know, a long time ago, Whitney Houston was, so this was something that was shared about Whitney Houston saying that she didn't ever read like the tabloids and things like that. And someone that worked with her, I think it was maybe a hairstylist or a makeup artist, was like, Whitney, you got to see this article. It's so good. Like, it was a good review about her. And Whitney Houston was just like, I don't read any of it, good or bad, because if I allow them to tell me who I am, if I allow them to, I can't quote it exactly, but basically, like, if I allow them to be the source of my confidence, where does that leave me? And for me, hearing that, like, someone as amazing as Whitney Houston, who of course she had ups and downs, and she was always in the tabloids and Bobby Brown and all of these things, but her voice was something so magical. But to hear her at her level understand that you can't compare yourself and you can't allow other people who are outside looking in to have so much power over you. So have those boundaries. Her boundary was she didn't read tabloids, reviews, or anything like that, good or bad, because they weren't the source. They weren't the power that she had on the inside, which you have too, right? Okay, so doing this type of mindset work, you begin to really connect yourself and become clear on what it is that your path is or your purpose is. And then the messaging, all of that becomes so clear because you're walking yourself through the process and you're calling in energetically. As you walk down this path for many years, as I did for many years, you will see that you're not alone and pain is never exclusive to one of us. I have walked this path so many times because every time we level up, we just recycle certain lessons, but we see it with a different perspective, with a newer lens, with a better way of handling and processing it, because we're learning. We are living, breathing beings. So it's just about, how can I get through this layer of this problem or this lesson in a way that's better than perhaps how I handled it 5 years ago? Or how did I handle it 3 years ago? And how do I want to handle it now? Right? So as I continue to meet myself, my own self on a deeper level, a more meaningful level, it becomes more clear and easier each and every single time to process that, right? Does that make sense? Does that resonate? I know you guys have heard me say, I love the quote about you can only meet someone as deeply as they've met themselves. So I'm continuously doing work, the same work that you're doing. It's just different because each time you expand and grow and you learn more about yourself, you learn what is for you, what's not for you, and you follow these breadcrumbs that lead you to where you want to be. And it leads you to a more aligned version of you, your higher self, your best self, another aspect of you. Um, so there was something else that I wanted to share. It's kind of like you're coming home to you, right? It's the roadmap back to you, your soul, and allowing yourself to really say, I don't want to be loved this way by family, friends, clients, or maybe I do want to be loved this way by family, friends, and clients, but really allowing yourself to stand in that power of saying, I've taken time to love me and understand how I want to be loved. So I know that this is not for me. And you don't have to change how you love people, but I'm just going to say no and establish the boundary because I don't appreciate or like the way that you love. It's not for me. And being okay with that, right? Because like attracts like frequency attracts like frequency, which you hear me talk about all the time in the mindset work. So energetically, what are you calling in? Because our subconscious and conscious mind is constantly replaying stuff on replay in the back of our mind, like a song, right? Oh, am I worthy of this? Oh, am I capable? Oh, why did so and so do this? Like maybe I deserve that. No, practice loving yourself, and then it becomes second nature, and then before you know it, everything else just starts clicking and coming into alignment in a way that is so amazing and feels so good that you don't even realize it until you're like a year later and you're like, dang, look at how far I've come. So I just wanted to get on here and share that because this is literally the process of getting to know yourself, the process of healing yourself, and simultaneously expanding in your life, in your business, because it overflows. It's inevitable. It overflows into these other areas of your life. And if you guys are interested, you guys know that I offer the free discovery call. So make sure that you book your free discovery call if you want to chat briefly and see if working together would be beneficial for you, or what I have that would possibly work for you, and what it is that you're going through or processing through right now. It's not for everyone, obviously, but if this is calling to you and this is something that you want help with, reach out. Reach out. I spent so much time being hard-headed. I spent so much time being hard-headed thinking I could do everything on my own. But we're not meant to do this life alone. And I have mentors. I have I have so many people behind the scenes helping me, continuing to push me to grow, to become better, to train, to practice, to show up. And in return, it feels really good because it's me learning how to receive when I'm 99.9% of the time a giver, right? And I know other people relate to that because you guys are in my DMs or email more often than not. So if this sounds like something that you want help or assistance working through, you can schedule somewhere around this video. There will be a link to schedule a discovery call. If you're ready to take action, if you're ready to take action, okay? So I'm sending all of you so much love, and I look forward to seeing you guys share what it is that you are going to be implementing or applying for this journey back home to you, back home to your soul through self-love. All right, I'm sending you so much love, my Soulpreneur Life family, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.